It is time for 4 Downs, and that's brought to you by Dynasty Pools and Spas right there in Athens. 4 Downs. Here we go.
4 Downs. 4 questions. 4 answers. The Dave Hooker Show.
4
Downs. A presentation of OffTheHookSports.com.
All right, we're going to take a look at future offensive playmakers at the position of, how about running back, wide receiver, quarterback, skill position, guys. And we're going to dive into that as we're going to talk a little bit of Peyton Lewis, Jake Merklinger, and Braylon Staley. So we've got a lot of guys to talk about on this National Signing Day. And it's brought to you by Dynasty Pools and Spas. Imagine having the best spas made right here in the U.S. in your backyard. Well, they're that in Athens, the best hot tubs and spas on the market. Dynasty Pools and Spas. Go to dynastyspas.com or stop by there for their showroom in Athens, Dynasty Pools and Spas. So we're going to jump in the hot tub with Cooper Mays. What should people do if they want more coverage of the Vols that is fair and objective and not clickbaity, and you know who you are?
Cooper Mays here. Hit like and subscribe.
Yeah, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. We'll have to get you to say that as well.
Coop here. First down.
All right, let's start with Peyton Lewis. If there's any one position that you can come in and play immediately, it is running back. And Peyton Lewis has a fantastic name, an all-Vol backfield name like Peyton Manning and Jamal Lewis. But Peyton Lewis might get the ability to play like immediately, given what the Vols have lost at the running back position.
Yes, Peyton Lewis has a great chance to play immediately. I'm sure he was actually named after Peyton Hillis for the Browns. Kidding. But I think that Peyton Lewis has a great chance to play early. He definitely fills a void. Right now, Dylan Sampson and Cam Seldon and Deshaun Bishop are back there. Khalifa Keith is the power back. You are rightly questioning whether or not Dylan Sampson can be a feature back. He may be an all-purpose back. I'm questioning if he has vision or pass pro to ever really be the impact player he should be. So Peyton Lewis could come in and immediately compete for that feature back role with Cam Seldon and Deshaun Bishop, assuming Jabari Small is not coming back. And all indications are that he's not coming back.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the case. Now let's take a look at another player via second down, brought to you by Dynasty Pools and Spas.
Cooper Mays here. Second down.
All right, second down, we're going to take a look at Braylon Staley, a 4-star wide receiver who signed with Tennessee. We also talked about Mike Matthews earlier, so we're not forgetting him out of our playmakers, but he is in another video, so check him out. But Braylon Staley, your thoughts on the 4-star wide receiver? Maybe gets a little overshadowed by Mike Matthews, but he shouldn't.
No, he shouldn't. And these are the type of guys Tennessee wants to win. Braylon Staley comes from this area known as South Carolina that Tennessee has had a lot of success in. He comes from, I believe it is Aiken High School in Aiken, South Carolina. And obviously there was this guy named Jalen Hyatt who came out of this state called South Carolina that had a big impact a few years ago. And Tennessee in 1998 won the national title with an all South Carolina defensive line. Albert Haynesworth came from South Carolina. Typically, South Carolina kids turn out to be elite for the Vols. I don't know if he'll get in next year because for those who don't know, the reason we're talking about Braylon Staley and not Mike Matthews this segment, this is about future playmakers, guys that don't necessarily seem like plug and play guys. But Braylon Staley could be on that fringe. Don't be surprised if he turns out to be a plug and play guy next year.
Derek says this show causes me to drink too much coffee. I got to stop. Stop the coffee, but don't stop watching. Hit that like and subscribe button. Turn your notifications on because we got Jacob Warren and Cooper Mays coming up here in just a bit. The other player I wanted to ask you about comes about in what down, Coop?
Tennessee center Cooper Mays here. Third down.
Jake Merklinger, quarterback. Yes, behind Nico, but we have mentioned that you're not going to have quarterback depth as a whole across the board with the transfer portal. So who knows? Merklinger could be asked to play some this upcoming year. And talent, he's got it. And I also respect the fact that he would come in behind a guy like Nico. That takes some brass ones. Let me just leave it at that.
It absolutely does. I think Merklinger is taking the chance. whether or not he stays at Tennessee long term because of who they're going to bring in the future and things like that, I think he's taken the chance of, look, at least for a year, given the new rules of the transfer portal, I could back up this guy Nico. And Tennessee has Hendon Hooker got hurt in 2022. Both Hendon Hooker and Joe Milton got hurt in 2021. It's not like injuries aren't a thing at quarterback in Heupel's system. So what happens if Nico gets hurt and Merklinger can come and make an impact? At the very least, if he does that, even if Nico's the guy going forward, Merklinger just secured himself a pretty big NIL bag in the transfer portal.
He did. I feel like I'm about to ask the dumbest question in the history of man, but not just these three guys. On fourth down, I'm going to ask you what offensive player as a whole, because I mentioned we spoke about Mike Matthews' commitment signing earlier, and you can find that video on YouTube here later today. But let's go fourth down. Who has the biggest impact for Tennessee? Twofold, this year and career.
All SEC center Cooper Mays here. Fourth down.
What do you got?
This year and career, it's Mike Matthews.
Okay. I'm going to say this year, Peyton Lewis, career Mike Matthews.
Okay, I could get with that. Now, my Mike Matthews take is I will agree with you if Brew McCoy is coming back and fully healthy or if Chris Brazzell transfers to Tennessee. We have no evidence that either of those is happening yet. So you may know more about the Brew McCoy situation than I do. But given I don't think he needs to prove anything at the college level. His physical measurables are he's a first-round pick if he goes, right? Not a first-round pick, but they know what he can do. Scouts know what he can do when healthy.
Yeah, I just can't imagine him going at this point. I don't want to I don't want to speculate too much, but it just seems like a natural thing to go. Going back to today's tough question, which is our poll question. We weren't including Boo on this. We were just talking about offensive players, but who are you most excited about on National Signing Day? Mike Matthews gets 28% of the vote. Boo Carter, 56% of the vote. Jordan Ross, 9% of the vote. 7% to other. Comment below. So we'll take a second who you guys are excited about. And then you have George McIntyre, too, at the quarterback position that's scheduled to come in next year. Does he make it? I think it depends on what Nico and or Merklinger does. Let me ask you this. Is this an open competition for the quarterback position with Merklinger, or you think they're pretty certain on Nico?
I think they're certain on Nico. I think, look, my personal prediction is that George McIntyre could be the guy to push Jake Merklinger into the transfer portal. And also don't sleep on this. Madden Iamaleava is also still out there, and Nico's brother. And so we're talking Tennessee may be set at quarterback through 2028 at this moment. Yeah. And so
I'll answer my own question. It's Nico. I mean, it's going to be Nico. Merklinger, if could end up being a 2-year starter if things fall right, or he could end up transferring. But I can go ahead and tell you that it's going to be 2024. It's going to be Nico. And unless he's not a gamer, which I do not believe is going to be the case, then I think he's going to start the season and have a fantastic year. Now, Travis says it should be 100% open until opening day. I agree with that philosophically. I just think that having a head start of an entire calendar year, think about that, because he was at bowl practice, Nico was last year. I think it's going to be Nico, and a little bit more Nico.
What you should do, I don't disagree with, where I disagree with Travis, I got no problem actually with naming a starter or planning for a starter before the season, from the off season of the previous year. I have an issue with, one, if you declare somebody the starter before you ever saw them practice, because that was your prized pickup, i.e. Joe Milton in 2021. And I also have a problem with not having a secondary option. And Dave, you know this with Philip Fulmer, this was a problem. Fulmer was all in on one quarterback usually. And after, he'll recruit a bunch of freshmen, name a starter, but after that year, he never really had a just in case backup. You know what I mean? So, and it did it did him in the end.
What are fair expectations for for Merklinger? Why does he choose Tennessee with Nico already there? Remind you that Apex Apparel Group can design, brand, and market your way, your business outfitted with promotional materials. Call 865-919-3001. Ask for Tyler, 865-919-3001, or go to yourapexapparel.com right down below. Click on them, and your business will look fantastic with their promotional apparel all taken care of. Apex Apparel Group, yourapexapparel.com. So let me ask you this. If you're Merklinger, why do you come to Tennessee with a player like Nico that's a year ahead of you?
Well, I think you come to Tennessee with a player like Nico because because of the chance I brought up, but I also think this is banking on, even if he doesn't win the job, strong chance Nico only plays for 2 years. And if you're Merklinger, you can redshirt and then sit behind Nico in 2025, and then 2026 comes, and guess what? You're a redshirt sophomore. You still have 3 years of eligibility left. And then so 2026 comes, you probably have open competition at that point between McIntyre and Merklinger, or not McIntyre. He's not committed. We're not saying he's committed, guys. But if it's not McIntyre, then Madden Iamaleava, Heupel's going to get a quarterback in the 2025 class. That's 100% guarantee, right, Dave? Like, he's getting a top-notch quarterback in the 2025 class.
I would think so. And Travis pointed out Merk doesn't think Nico stays longer than 2025. That's a very good point. And I think Tennessee's culture, which I know I beat it over the head and it's overused in the media, but I think that could talk a guy into staying longer if he's not the starter walking into the door. And I don't think Merklinger is going to be that. But I would have an open competition. I'm just going to tell you that. Our 5 favorite. Go ahead.
But also there's the factor, like, look, I think Josh Heupel would have had an open competition this year between Taven Jackson and Nico Iamaleava, but Taven Jackson transferred because he saw how Nico Iamaleava was playing in practice, guys. So you're not going to, it's hard to have the open competition now because quarterbacks, Dave, when they know when the other quarterback's better, don't they?
Yep.